Laila. He's our interpreter. So please, if you can, yeah, please slowly, so we can interpret, and then all the instruction related to interpretation will be instructed by our host now. So Ala, you can go ahead.
تحت عنوان تجديد المجتمع وخلق صناع التغيير من خلال العلم، تتحول الأستاذة الدكتورة رنا دجاني، بروفيسور بالجامعة الهاشمية بالأردن، وحاصلة على البكالوريوس والماجستير من جامعة الأردن والدكتوراه من جامعة أيوا، وهي بالتأكيد رئيسة مسار العلوم الأساسية بأسبوع العلوم العربي، مع الدكتورة باولا فيراري، مؤسس ورئيسة أكاديمية دي جاجلياتو. مع العلم ستتوفر ترجمة فورية إلى اللغة العربية لهذه الجلسة، وعلى مستمعينا إذا أردت الترجمة الرجاء الضغط على أيقونة الترجمة على أقصى يمين أسفل الشاشة، واختيار القناة الصوتية الثانية اللغة الفرنسية، وستقوم بسماع الترجمة الأوتوماتيكية من مترجمنا الفوري الدكتور محمد أبو علي. Regeneration, a community, and creating change makers through science. Professor Rana Dajani, our professor at the Hashemiyat University in Jordan, holds a BA and MA from the University of Jordan and a PhD from the University of Iowa. And of course, our Back to Basic track chair of the Arab Science Week with Dr. Paola Ferrari, the founder and president of Accademia di Gagliato. Also, I would like to note that this session will be available with simultaneous interpretation. And for our attendees, please, if you want to hear the Arabic interpretation, please click on the translation icon on the far bottom of the screen and choose the second audio channel, French language, and you will hear the automatic interpretation from our interpreter, Dr. Muhammad Abu Ala. دكتور رنا المايك مع حضرتك.
شكرا. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. I am very happy to be here today. And I really want to thank the Arab Science Week organizers for making the Arab Science Week happen. It is such an important series of events that we hope will continue every year indefinitely, because of the importance of science and development and raising awareness to the importance of science, to have a better quality of life, to raise expectations, for justice to prevail. We were just talking about ciao bella ciao, and to make sure that children grow up more aware of their surroundings, of their own selves, so that they can create a better future and become change makers. To solve the challenges that we are facing today, and to be role models for the next generation. So from this platform, I wanted to share what one of the organizations that I head, which is called We Love Reading, what we have been doing in that endeavor to increase awareness to science and the importance of science, starting from the young children, because we know the way you change mindsets is starting with the young children, because their brains are growing, their neurons are connecting, and they're open to every possibility. They haven't been restricted by society, by the community. So they're the best innovators, and we want to make sure that we keep them curious and asking questions for as much as we can. So We Love Reading has done a number of projects, and I'm going to share the first one on my screen here, which is a project we had started a few years ago, where we actually collected questions from the children themselves across the Arab world about the world around them in nature. Why is the sky blue? Why do I get sick? Why does my tummy make a sound when I eat? Things that children ask. And then after we collected the questions, we actually sent them out to science professors all across the Arab world to answer them. Now, the unique thing about this question answer database that you can see on the screen is that it's all in Arabic. And unfortunately, there's a very low content of good Arabic material about science for children online that's safe and suitable for children. So this is one of those first ones where any child can go in. For those who can read in Arabic, we have all these subjects: geology, chemistry, physics, the human body, plants, astronomy, and then they can click on it and find the question that they want. And then there's general, for example, if you go to astronomy, there's a number of questions. They can look for what question matters to them. And then if they click on one question, they can see the answer. And then they can rate the question. Do they like it? What do they think about it? And then people can ask new questions, the children, and scientists can actually volunteer to be part of the team that actually answers or attempts to answer the questions. So this, we hope that the audience can use this database for their own children, for school, and to increase it and widen it. Another thing that we have been doing is increasing stories about science in Arabic, again, to enrich the literature for children. So here on the We Love Reading website, we have a whole series of children's books in Arabic. Some of them are about the environment, energy conservation, water conservation, anti-littering, or about science and thinking in a critical way, about gender roles, where girls and boys don't assume the necessarily roles that we grow up with, but to have a wider perspective of what could life look like, what could your job look like, what is your role in your community. And I want to emphasize as much as possible about the importance of reading aloud. And actually in the Arab Science Week, we already had one, I think earlier today, a session about reading aloud to children using some of our books. So we encourage you to read aloud to your children, to the children around you, because that is so important for the brain development in terms of your memory, your emotional regulation, your cognition, that makes you do better at school and better in life in general. But most importantly, it makes you fall in love with reading. And if you fall in love with reading, you become the hero you read about, and you can change the world. So from this background, a colleague introduced me to Paula. And they told me, oh, Rana, you got to know Paula. Paula's this amazing woman. She's doing these amazing things in Italy. And so Paula was so gracious to invite me to Italy, to the south of Italy, so that I could see in my own eyes firsthand what is Paula doing, and to share her amazing work. And I'm not going to talk about it. I'm going to leave Paula to share with us more about who she is and what she does, and then to share with us more about her work and her project in Italy. So Paula, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Rana, and salam alaikum to all. This is all the extent of my Arabic competence. It's a privilege and honor. I'm very humbled to have been given this opportunity to talk about our little non-profit in Italy. My name is Paola Del Zotto Ferrari. Since a very young age, I've been very passionate about women and children, and I pursued a career to work in an international organization. So I landed at the United Nations many years ago. Then I fell in love with a super scientist, and we had 5 children soon thereafter. I just dropped an international career, and I looked at what my husband was doing in the field of science. He's a renowned nanoscientist, and thought of bringing science to the people like me that cannot, master the technical aspect of it, but still want to be a fan of whatever progress in the sciences are made, because the progress in science is meant to benefit the people, us. So I wanted to disseminate competence of also complex, concept to the lay public. In 2008, we started, we went to this little village in the southern part of Italy. It's a very poor region, one of the poorest regions in Europe. We bought a little house there. We fell in love with the place, and we said, well, why don't we invite friends, scientists here to develop, to talk about their science, but also to engage with the people in the village. And something happened in 2008 that's been going on for 12, 13 years now. And I think I will to have you an idea of what happens in this place once a year at the end of the summer, in July actually. I'm going to show you a very short video, 2-minute video, to give you a flavor of this place and what we do there. So if Rana allows me now to go with the video, here it is. Enjoy. There you go. So this is what Nano Gagliato is. So the prefix nano comes from the fact that, here is our Rana participating to the events. So nano is because the scientific focus of the conference is nanoscience, in particular in its application to medical research. Though this year we also, translated the nano application for the green, and I will talk about it in a second. So over 5 days, we bring in scientists from all over the world. Some of them are pretty renowned, like our Dr. Rana Dajani. We also had, this is my husband, world-renowned nanoscientist. We also had Nobel laureate that came and are part of this group of like-minded, big-hearted, scientists that are willing, yes, to delve into the issues and challenges at the core of their research, but at the same time share a passion for global justice and for bringing opportunities to children. Our first consideration is that we believe that talent is universal, opportunity is not. So the children in this very small village of Italy are hundreds of miles away from any science museum. Their perspective, their horizon for a career is very limited. In all likelihood, they might end up, working with their families in the fields or in local, small businesses in the area. But we know that they can also have their horizons, their imagination opened up to other possibilities. And we think that science can be a conduit for, for empowering them toward lives and careers that might be fulfilling and life-changing for them, but for the world. So here is, for example, Lee Hartwell, Nobel laureate in medicine in 2001. I remember him actually getting very moved when he got the questions from the children, and the children also have, this is Luca Parmitano, the just past commander of the International Space Station. He was with us and absolutely thrilled the children with stories from space. Dr. Laura Bass, she is the chief, actually the president of the all colleges of surgeons of America. The children have trading cards that with the faces of the scientists and fun facts about the scientists. The scientists sign them and the children even trade them. So they get connected to these important people that become for them role models. Another thing we believe it is that you cannot be what you cannot see. So by seeing these people that become your friends and approach you in ways that are very, you're very comfortable with, something might really be triggered. So the scientists meet, we have 2 venues for this, and very important science is being developed. There are a lot of collaborations, students exchanges, articles, even companies were born out of these meetings. We have a huge event in a square where for 3 hours, the people of the village get to hear what science is being developed in our guests' laboratories. We also have gadgets. We created even a line of jewelry, the nano jewels. We have these beautiful rings. We have little bracelets with the shape of a nanoparticle for drug delivery. That are little ways for us to fundraise. So many other projects and activities fill these 5 days within the community. We have artists, we have an artist in residence, and he brought with him other friends, and they painted the very ugly stairs of the town. This is the a DNA shaped lady, and then here we have a sower of seeds of knowledge in the form of books and computers, and these are community projects. We extended the range of topics to the green revolution, the great green reset. And so we went to the mountains, to another community in the mountains of Friuli Venezia Giulia, and there we did Nano Valbruna. This too was a science field, but also community engaged opportunity. And now we are going beyond. Since the model, the platform that we developed has ingredients that can be replicated elsewhere, we have requested to do this in other parts of the world. And for 2022, we're scheduled to go to Nepal. So Nano Sano, Sano stands for Piccola. Piccola means small, and this is the junior academy of our Nano Gagliato enterprise, soaring with science. This is our theme for our 2022 Nano Sano in Nepal. So these are my contacts. These are the website. It is a phenomenal event that happened in a way serendipitously. But produced a range of a cascade of good effects on the community that we thought were worth kind of distilling into a platform that again has become now the model that with the Accademia di Gagliato Globale we are bringing in other communities, disadvantaged communities.
That is amazing. I mean, sharing the story, I wanted to highlight so many of the beautiful things that you're doing as examples of what anyone can do. I mean, you started this thing being passionate about it, And so everybody, anybody in our audience, anybody anywhere can also think outside the box and say, what can I do? And the pictures you showed of all these villages and the people you described, we have them all in our own countries, in our own villages, across the Arab world. So the scenario, the backdrop, the community is very, very similar. So a lot of those lessons can be transferred, adapted to fit into the local culture. So one of the things also you mentioned is those cards, which if everybody noticed, those cards on the floor that the scientists were signing. So these are, in America, there's a culture, and I'm sure in soccer as well, where you collect the card of the football player. In the Arab world, we don't do baseball, we do soccer, and the same thing in Italy. So they have the celebrity, the soccer player, and everybody wants to sign, the soccer player to sign their shirt or their card. This was an amazing idea. And because we need our celebrities to be the scientist, right? Not just the actors and the musicians or the politics and the government. No, we want the scientists, the real people.
Absolutely. Yeah, and Rana, what was really striking and the best results that I could witness at that point is I saw these children that in such a poor community are attracted at times to petty crime. They drop off to school. By bringing this event to them and these scientists to them, science became cool. So, you see, coolness is what is important, when you grow up, with your peers, and seeing these children being attracted by science and finding it very cool. This was an amazing outcome. Now, some of these children that never dreamt before actually Nano Piccola to go to college, we provide the sponsorships for them. We talk to their families and encourage them to let them go a little beyond the confined borders of the town or their horizon. And now these children, one of them is now the regional champion in math. Another one is completing her college degree in biology. All these are very success stories that confirm the importance of the little flame, the little trigger. As you say, Rana, sometimes it takes, like you, when you go in front of the mosque with your bag of books. We simply, brought a couple of scientists in this village, and things really happened in a surprising and beautiful way.
Absolutely. And then which leads to the point of bringing those Nobel Prize winners, those well-renowned world scientists, to come and sit with the children, talk to them, makes the child think, wow, this is just a normal human being, just a normal guy, a normal woman. Yes. They're like us. They eat, they drink, they sleep, they make mistakes, and that's okay. And that makes them able to dream.
And sometimes when you interact with them, you learn their stories, where they started. And in so many cases, they were not more privileged than you. Sometimes they started from a condition or a background that very much resembles the one of these children. So this is why we would like to again ask so many of the scientists that left for small communities, poor disadvantaged community, and came to the United States or in other important well-established and rich institutions, but they maintain a connection with the community they came from. We would like for them to go back to their community of origin and in a way work with the local stakeholders that in the community, and be willing to become the role models for the children of this community and show them, this is what I did, you see, I started, and then go back and encourage them to pursue career in science. And another thing I would like to say, it is true that the people and the children of these communities benefit a lot from this infusion of international scientists and so on and so forth, but it's also the scientists that come from abroad and live in the community. So it's a two-way It's a two-way benefit that it's started and goes on in this relationship. Also the scientists, some of them, we really saw how moved they were. They were kind of reminded and got a fresh reminder of why they are doing what they are doing. Society invests a lot of resources on them, okay? Taxpayer money goes in the research the scientists do. And sometimes they are disconnected from the ultimate users of their research. So when they get to these places, they are reminded why we are doing this, why is it so important. And believe me, we have scientists that come year after year after year after year to this very rustic, very, very small place for 12 years. So this shows that it's not only them giving, it's also them getting.
Absolutely, and that's a great example. That I represent the Society for Advancement of Science and Technology in the Arab world, and that's a senior network of senior scientists in diaspora. So in the U.S., in Europe, in Australia, and so we call upon them to come back to their own countries, just like you said, and to start something in their little village, in their town, whether in Morocco, Algeria, Egypt, Jordan, Iraq, all of Palestine, to go back to their country, their village where they came from, because like you said, we all come from the same local community, and to do something. And as president of this society, I'm ready to help any scientist who wants to come back to the Arab world to start something. And Paula, we are working together, and we can use the same models, work together in collaboration to start something similar. And the beautiful thing also about your program is involving the local, not just the children, but the older people, the parents, all coming together.
Everyone, they throw a big banquet where they know that welcome banquet for the scientists the first night. We dance, we eat together, we spend a lot of time together. It's really a beautiful feast. And if you go on nanogagliato.org, you will find the AGG page, the Accademia di Gagliato Globale. Please look it up, because again, we try to summarize what we think are the important elements of this model, so you can find them there. Please contribute also more ideas, write to me, write to us. And as Rana, we are in standby, ready to assist you in implementing and replicating this model, which is very simple, but there are lessons, hard lessons that we learned over the years. So we would love to share with you, what the hurdles might be. The most important thing, you don't want to parachute anything on small communities. It has to be an act of co-creation. So don't even dream of going there with your scientists and just, inviting the village. That would not work. It took me 7 years to figure out that, to get completely the place to feel ownership of this event and being so beautifully integrated, you need to go very slowly. And, most importantly, work with the people that live there. So yes, the scientist of the diaspora goes back, but he has friends, in the village. He has people that he knows that are great leaders in the community. Bring them into your project and work together. Co-creation, it's what is needed to, to implement anything that has a chance of success.
That is what you said is so important, because even the people in the village, they have so much knowledge and experience that they can enrich it. Like you said, it's a two-way road. We both benefit from each other, and we have to do it together in order to succeed and to be sustainable and to keep it going and to have real impact on the ground. Absolutely. And that's the first step. You're helping people, because some of the question that came up is how to start and how to continue. And that's your answer there, Melek, it's about co-creation, because we may not be able to stay there all the time, but the people will continue, and the children who grow up will continue to keep that change and those activities going on. One other thing I want to point out in the last few minutes is also the interdisciplinary nature, involving artists and involving different sciences together. And not just thinking, like you said, they come and meet and talk about science, but they're also talking about bigger issues globally. When I was there, you were talking about what is it that we should be worrying about today? How can scientists from across the world come together to help solve the challenges? How to implement global justice? How to, hear the voices of those whose voices are not heard? That was so important, and because you don't hear that in science circles. And so that was a great thing also that you did.
Absolutely, yeah. The idea was, science has a role, science for global justice. How do we put, we think that all the solutions, for this alien world will come from science. So we want more, scientists and younger, people from the most disadvantaged community be the co-creator of the science solutions for today and tomorrow. So we need to engage them. How do you engage them? By making them passionate about something that might feel a little bit far from because they don't think it's within their reach. So through this experience, you put science to their reach and encourage them to become, science creator.
That's wonderful. So one of the questions also from the audience, how can we start this in the Arab world? And I'm going to say that, well, one thing is, I think together, and I'm just going to give an example. So when we met, I saw great things in Paula's work, and she saw great things in my work. So anytime you come into a relationship, you need to think what can I give and what can I learn from the other person, and I think we came together getting the best of both projects, so that we could go forward to create even better projects going forward. And one of them is that We Love Reading has spread to so many countries around the world. And that's what we want to help Paula, so that she can spread her project around the world, that she can learn from We Love Reading. And then we can make, we called it We Love Science together. Right? Exactly. Yes. So now the first thing we did is that we said we have to write about our collaboration, because writing is so important to document, to show the world what we're doing. And so this is the first step. So we're writing now. We wrote an article. We sent it to be published in a very international platform. The second thing is to think up of a joint project and apply for funding. So the We Love Science was a project we thought about to do in Jordan among the Syrian and Palestinian refugees. With COVID-19, things got a little bit slow, but the plan is there, and anything takes time. It's about patience and perseverance, and then we can go forward. So anybody who wants to contact can reach to me, can reach out to Paula, and we can work together to make this happen. But ultimately, it's you, the audience, who's going to make it happen. And we are here to help, to support, to advise, and to mentor. We're almost done. So I want to give the last words to you, Paula. If you want to give a last piece of advice to our audience across the Arab world, what would that be?
Well, I was, talking to Rana about, how this all started. Why did I get engaged with this very, very innovative, very unlikely experience? And I was telling her that again, my call, I always felt, was to work for and with women and children. This is why I landed a job. It was not easy for me. I mean, coming from a very small town myself in Italy, and I landed a job at the United Nations. That's where I wanted to be. That's where I thought, my call could be fulfilled. And then I fell in love. I had 5 children. The international career was no longer there, and my family became my choice. But instead of, sometimes we think that, we miss something in our trajectory, that the plans don't go exactly. And then, but if you look at, then I looked at my choice. So I'm married to this fantastic scientist, and the journey he's on is so exciting, so beautiful, so important. Why don't I look at it as an opportunity for me to find a role on this journey? And so through my choice, I also was able to go back to my call, and now here I am, fulfilling my original call by looking at something that presented as a challenge and was actually an opportunity to develop this beautiful initiative. And the other thing, sometimes we are just the victim of our narrative. when I remember, talking to my lady friends that, were, in the careers, blah, blah, blah. And I said, well, but then I stopped my work at the UN, I got married, I had 5 children, and don't have to apologize for whatever, detour your life presents. Build your own narrative. And actually, this was a beautiful thing that happened to me, and I'm super grateful that I took that road. So when you create your narrative, it's always, look grateful for whatever, places life took you also unexpectedly. And it's a narrative that you project outside when you talk about yourself and your accomplishment to the other people, but it's a narrative that works on, so, for yourself. So that will be able to boost also your energy, your reservoir of motivation and purpose to go on to beautiful enterprises like this one of Nano Gagliato and the Accademia, that I think it certainly is.
That's amazing. Thank you for sharing your story and the quote about build your own narrative, take control of your own life, and you decide how to go. You can't control circumstances, but you can control what you want to do and what you do about it. So that's wonderful. And I'm going to end with answering one of the last questions was, what can we do, right? What can people do to improve science in the Arab world? And I always want to say, start by encouraging reading and asking questions and being curious. That's how it starts. So if we stick to that and keep doing that, more and more of our children will grow up to be change makers and make this world a better place. Thank you so much, Paula. Thank you for the Arab Science Week, and thank you for the audience.
Thank you.
Everybody is so inspiring. Thank you very much, and have a great day, everyone.
Thank you so much.
Salam.
Bye. Take care. Bye. Thank you, Rana. Thank you.